but I messed it all up. I made a right mess of it. Literally, I burnt every pan going with these polenta.
What, nerves? Or
yeah, just nerves and just...
This induction was too good.
Yeah, and honestly, the induction, I've never used it before, so it was just like instantly hot, and I'm not cooked on it like that.
That's crazy.
I was always just been gas. So I was burning every pan and every pot, and the sink was just piling up with these big pots, and managed to get him a dish.
Was he watching you?
Yeah, he was watching me. Head chef Slavic was watching me, and all the other chefs who, Ryan and Sam and all them lot were all watching me.
Dirt on my boots and a dream in my veins. Let's ride. I was born where the map turns grey. One pump town with a 2-lane way.
So yeah, cheers.
Cheers.
That's good. Are you splitting it?
There we go, yeah.
Go on then.
Oh, nowhere near that.
Oh, I've done it as well.
Pretty terrible.
Oh dear. There you go. Restaurant owners and publicans obviously can't do this.
Yeah.
Right, this is a really exciting one. We've got Gareth Bartram, who is a local chef. He's got the auction house in Louth, which is a business that, a restaurant should I say, that me and Laura have visited a couple of times, 3 times I think. And we're due to come in next week with some friends. And you also spent a lot of time at probably one of the most famous restaurants in the county, I think that'd be fair to say.
Yeah.
Which was Winteringham Fields. And we'll go into some details because that's about as much of knowledge as I've got of you, to be honest. Okay. Which is probably quite normal considering we've never met before.
Yeah, it'd be a bit weird if you'd researched me that much without everything about me, but yeah.
But yeah, so like just go right back to the beginning. What was like your food journey from like a child, like family and stuff like that?
I mean, I've always been interested in food. There's not really one thing that I didn't like as a kid. I would always eat everything my mum put in front of me. And my mum was a great cook. She's always like cooked like home cooked food. I mean, don't get me wrong. There was every so often where we'd have Vinder's scruffy pancakes or something, which everyone went through that. But on the whole, it was like sat around the table, all my brothers, Sunday lunches. It was always home cooked food. So it was always
quite a big family then.
Yeah, I've got 2 brothers and a sister. And myself, obviously, so my mum used to always cook for us. My dad used to work away a bit, but on weekends when he was home, it was always everyone around the table, Sunday lunches. It was just a nice vibe. From that, I got that sort of feeling of like, well, food brings people together, and it's just a great way of bringing people together as well.
I think we've probably got quite a lot in common in that way.
Yeah.
Obviously, my family, we grew up in the pub, so even when mum and dad weren't working in the kitchen or whatever, when we were at home, we always had big plates of food. And, yeah, and it's amazing how it brings people together.
Yeah.
So just tell us a little bit about, so what was like your, like for example, my family always cooked curry for some reason.
Right, okay.
We haven't got any Indian heritage at all. But like, was it always British food and things like that?
It tended to be, meat and 2 veg, roast dinners. But my mum always used to make pastas and bologneses. She used to be quite open to making anything, really, which obviously opened my eyes and my palate as well to different flavours. And there's no chefs in my family. None of us have worked in hospitality before.
So nothing,
there was nothing really which drew me towards it other than just the love of eating and the love of it bringing my family
Can
together.
you remember the decision when you were like, I want to be a chef? Were you really young or was it?
I must have been about 10 or 11, I think. I was cooking, and that was the point where maybe a little bit after that, though, the Jamie Oliver's come on TV. He started to make it look a bit cooler and stuff like that. So in my eyes as a young kid, I thought thinking, this is like a good, this could be a good way to go. I enjoy cooking, even though I was just doing it at home. Obviously, quite a young kid. I was still enjoying getting in and making like stir fries and bacon and anything to do with food. And obviously, I like to eat as well, so it was always you always got that little reward at the end from doing it. So it was for me, there was no other way of me going.
What was your like? Did you go to like culinary college, or what was your sort of avenue into like your first kitchen, if that makes sense?
Yeah,
commercial
my mum and dad both spotted that I was into food and that I wanted to do it. So my dad just happened to stumble across something in the paper that the Grimsby College was actually hosting a teen cooking school on a Saturday morning.
Right. How old were you then?
I would have been 13, 14,
oh, wicked.
I think. So yeah, I would have been just starting like at Lindsay Upper, so it would have been like year 8 or 9 maybe. But yeah, he enrolled me into that, so I went there for the last part of my school. Because it was going at the college, I had that affiliation with them already, so as soon as I was ready to leave school, I already had my foot in the door, so I was pretty much straight in,
ready to go
into college. So yeah, I did 3 years at Grimsby College.
Amazing.
But alongside that, I was also working in different kitchens. And
so, were you from Grimsby originally?
So I was born in Rotherham, but my dad's job brought us across into Grimsby when I was about 5. So I always say, I'm a Meggie. I grew up in Cleethorpes, so that is where that's home basically. That's my hometown. So yeah, I grew up in and around that area, and I worked in a butcher's shop just around the corner from where I used to live.
It's a good,
Gerard's
amazing
Butchers.
place to start.
Yeah,
butchery.
Just washing up.
I still know some. Well, I've met temp chefs that have come in and they can't do any sort of butchery.
That's it, so having that one skill, which not a lot of chefs do have.
Yeah.
So I can do all sorts of butcheries, from making sausages to breaking down whole beasts to anything really.
Amazing,
It almost broadens your whole knowledge to be able to put different things on the menu, because you can use the different cuts, and you can. Someone rings me up and says, I've got a deer, do you want it? I was like, well, yeah, because I can break it down and I can use it for all sorts.
And that obviously helps with your profitability and everything else. I mean, we, again, just digressing ever so slightly, when we look at our business model, we think, our big expansion plan is not to just buy 10 pubs, it's to actually say, right, well, let's get a butcher's shop next.
Right, okay.
Let's have a bakery. Let's have a brewery.
And how they all spot each other.
How amazing would it be to have, Spaniel Inns bread, the butcher's shop, and everything is just coming through one channel. So I think the more you broaden especially with how hard things are, the easier it's all sort of going to be, hopefully. Anyway.
Yeah, fingers crossed. Yeah, touch wood. Yeah.
But so okay, so that sounds cool. So the butcher's shop, and then what was your first chef job? Were you did you go on as a comedy?
Working at the butcher's shop, obviously there's a lot of restaurants in the area in Cleethorpes who were going to him for the meat, and naturally just speaking to chefs and the owner speaking to me, I soon got a job in the kitchen. It wasn't too hard really. So I went in as a commis chef at a place called the Coach House in Humberston. I was there. That's when I first met one of my closest friends even now, Jamie. He took over the pub after I've been there maybe 3 or 4 months, and we obviously got friendly with each other. He's a great chef. He taught me a lot, even at the Coach House. But
so was he like head chef?
He came in as head chef.
Okay.
But I was just commis. Literally still at college, working maybe any evening I can get a shift. I'd go. Every weekend I was there. And obviously, being like a young sort of 18-year-old lad, normally weekends you'd be going out on the lash with your mates, and I just sort of sacrificed all that. I was going out after work, like 10, 11 o'clock and playing catch up. That's what the game was, But
I just turning up on a Sunday.
That's it. It's
I think we've all done that.
Like rolling in for a breakfast shift and not going home. Just walking from the pub sort of thing.
Well, I'm glad that you've said something along those lines, because I thought, obviously I'm aware that Winteringham Fields is Michelin and stuff like that, and I see chefs. We're very fortunate now that our kitchen's extremely sober. But we have had kitchens that potentially weren't quite as sober, should we say? And I thought maybe that Michelin's journey might not be the same sort of journey.
No, I mean, Winteringham Fields is a completely different beast altogether, really. It was 100%, we were focused on what you were doing. But don't get me wrong, you work hard and you play hard.
You have to. I think chefs are just built different, though.
Yeah. We're a bit of a misfits, That's what we are, and we sort of find our place in kitchens and in pubs and restaurants.
Behind the doors, it's a different world, isn't it?
Yeah.
It's, again, digressing into my life, and I've done a few months in the kitchen, like best part of a year probably, and learnt from nothing. And sort of went in as almost head chef. Running it, ordering things, cleaning everything, writing rotas and stuff like that. And found it really, really difficult, especially from like a cold start, even though I've got a background in it. And like really quickly found my personality changing slightly. Like, would come out with things that I probably wouldn't normally say.
Yeah.
So it's I don't know. It's a different environment. I think probably that's. So you just going back to your friend, your friend Jamie. So
we went to the coach house. He was there. He noticed like I had a bit of potential, and he knew he used to work at the Kingsway, which obviously at the time was the place to go in Cleethorpes. So that was the place to be. And I actually lived up the road from the Kingsway on the Queen's Parade. So it was literally just a 2-second walk from my house. He knew the head chef.
So he dragged you over there.
He basically just said, "Just go work there. You're too good to be here." Basically,
really?
Just go there, learn whatever you can there, and then see how you get on. So and I was there for about 12 months while I was still doing college and stuff. And I actually managed to get myself a job at one of Gordon Ramsay's restaurants in London, ready for when I left college, basically. So I was 19 years old.
I did wonder if that was. I did wonder if London was in your path.
I think as a chef, if you know that's what you want to spend your life doing, you always have to do that sort of London stint. You know, London's a great city for food. It's got amazing restaurants, but you have to be a certain mindset in order to work there as a chef, because it's a hard place. And going in there at 19 years old, fresh out of school, moving away from home, like the first
So did Jamie tell you, this is what I think you should do?
Jamie, obviously he gave me guidance from there, but by that time he'd already moved on from the coach house. I think he was working down in Weymouth somewhere by then.
Right.
So chefs are renowned for moving around the whole country, even the world. Once you've got your trade and you've got the skill, you can work pretty much anywhere as a chef.
Very transferable, isn't it?
Yeah, and it's the perfect career if you do want to travel and stuff like that. But obviously he was very what's the word I'm looking for? He's
supportive.
Yeah, supportive. He was he guided me in the right direction and stuff. And I wouldn't be where I am today if it wasn't for that sort of guidance I had very early on.
I think you need it massively, especially as like an older teenager. Yeah. Like you say, we all probably went through a stage in our lives where we spent more time going out and trying to find women or whatever. Do you know what I mean? And things like that. But a little bit of guidance from someone a bit older, I think helps quite a lot.
So
you went into London. You got which restaurant was it?
So it was the Boxwood Cafe in the Berkeley Hotel in Knightsbridge, which he had 2 restaurants in there at the time. He had the Boxwood on one corner, and then a Petrus on the other corner. And Petrus was a 2-star, and Boxwood was like a cafe. So although it was serving great food, it didn't have any accolades or anything, but it did high volume. So we were doing maybe 180 covers of service, starting at like 6 a.m, not finishing until like 2 a.m. the following day. It was hardcore, and for a 19-year-old fresh out of college, not been away from home before, it was like, bloody hell, this is crazy.
I think, I don't know if you agree with this, but when you are that age though, it's almost possible. If you said to me now, at 33, 34 soon, go and do that shift, there's no way I could do it.
No, I think, at that age, if you've got the mentality to put up with not just the hours, but also the abuse. Because you do get that, especially back then, like it was, 2005, I think. So back then it was, that's like 20 years ago now. There was hard kitchens to work in. If you didn't do something right, you were told, and you weren't told in a nice way.
No. Probably got a spoon chucked to the back.
All sorts of stuff used to go on,
I think that has changed.
Oh, massively. Massive. I mean, I'm not too sure about London kitchens, but it used to be every kitchen. But now, actually, and my management skill now style now is you don't get anything out of anyone if you're constantly belittling them, shouting at them. You need to support people, nurture them, and make sure that they get the support what they need in order to.
We touched on leadership with we had a typhoon pilot sat here, and they train. I can't remember what he called it now. He had a different word rather than leadership. It was followership.
Right. Okay.
So you need to learn how to follow before you learn how to lead, and we touched on it a little bit with him, and I think exactly right. I've always been of the sort to sort of put my arm around someone when they make a mistake and things like that. Whereas my father, on the other hand, was completely different. And we've managed to build a team of, I don't know, we're like 44, 45 strong now. I think I might know what I'm doing, but don't hold me to that. But it's really important, and you probably learned how to lead in that manner because you probably looked at managers back then in London and thought, I wouldn't do it like this, And I think you learn a lot from bad managers, shall we say, although they actually probably helped you get to where you are.
Well, very true, And when I was down there, I didn't last there that long. I was there for maybe 3 months, which for me was long enough. But I still knew I wanted to cook. It hadn't broken me that much where I didn't want to be in the industry anymore.
So London for 3 months. you probably did about 8 months worth of
Yeah,
work.
exactly. Yeah, probably about that. The amount of hours I was doing a week. Yeah.
Yeah.
And being paid very little, you know. But
I
you
don't
do
know why
it just for experience. You do it.
Yeah.
So I mean, although I did enjoy it, I still took something away from it, and
Yeah.
that is how not to treat people.
Yeah.
And don't get me wrong. There was that at that point, the industry was booming, and he had so many different chefs coming through the kitchen because people wanted to work for him. Didn't matter what kitchen they were in, they could quite easily I could walk out and then have someone in there that night to
literally
to replace
thousands of CVs.
So to them, what didn't matter, you know.
So then what happened? Did you go? When did you get?
I came back home, so I literally came back to the Kingsway, and I started working. No, sorry, not the Kingsway. I came to work at the Dovedale Hotel.
Okay.
So that's just up the road from the Kingsway on Albert Road, still there now. I was there for about another 12 months. This is the point in my career where I started to become more of, I wanted that teenage years what I didn't have. So I started to almost like, I'd work wherever I can. I still want to work in kitchens, but I started to go out more, started to build a friendship group, and I met a few people who I met back up with a few people who I left at college, and we just sort of like built this sort of network of friends, which is great.
Quite important.
Yeah, I think so. Yeah.
And like, I mean, we always say about balance, don't we? I mean, you don't get a lot, but it's really important that you find some at least.
Yeah.
So yeah, and especially with you moving about a bit, I imagine that's quite important. So
yeah.
So at what stage was Winteringham on the cards? What year?
So
did you
this
go there
was long. Well, I didn't start at Winteringham until I was 28. So it's another like 6 years down the line now. So I spent another couple of years working around Grimsby and Cleethorpes. Not really bothered about where I was working as long as I had some money coming in.
Yeah.
But the job I had at the Dovedale was probably my highest paid job. So I actually, could afford to get on the property market. So
nice.
I bought myself a house. I was settled in Cleethorpes.
Oh, so you had your head screwed on?
Yeah. I wasn't just partying all the time, And my parents obviously were behind me, just saying, so I wanted to rent. It was like, no, don't bother renting. Just
stay
save
with
up some cash. Get yourself a decent job, but try and get yourself a house. So that's what I did. And
so were you head chef at this stage?
I was head chef, but I shouldn't have been head chef. Do you know what I mean? I was barely 21. It was like I shouldn't have been a head chef. I didn't have enough experience in order to do that. And looking back now, I know that. But at the time, when someone says,
like,
"Do you want to be head chef?" I'm like, yeah, I'll be head chef. Yeah. Why not? I'll do it. And I know the
so what would be some of the mistakes that you made as a 21-year-old in that role?
I don't know. Looking back, just not knowing how to balance. I mean, mainly about food, mainly about cooking, obviously, and a little bit slapdash with the management. Like people could probably get away with murder and just do what they wanted.
Too relaxed.
I was,
probably their friends rather.
Yeah, exactly. That's it. So
you see that quite a lot with
young
managers, don't you?
That's it. They don't know. Not only do they don't know how to do their job as in a chef, they don't know how to manage people either. So people are putting them in the roles almost by default because they can't find anyone else. And hoping that they can do the job. And I was there for maybe another 12 months, I think, before I went back to the Kingsway as a sous chef under a head chef who knew what he was doing. And Guy there, he showed me so much more about managing than anyone ever has. Do you know what I mean? And how to run a team and a big team. That was a big hotel. And I was there with him for another 18 months before Jamie was then in Bath, and he messaged me and said, I need a sous chef. Do you want to come down and work in Bath? At that point I was thinking, I've got an house here and I'm pretty much settled, but I can't see myself branching out, and I got the bug again, and I wanted to push myself harder.
I think it's really hard to sort of, especially at that age, it's hard to know your path. You don't know. I mean, I always joke, I still don't know which direction I'm going.
Yeah.
And I've got a property, a pub, and looking at another pub, and I'm like, well, this could change at any minute,
Yeah.
But yeah, I think the hardest thing I've found is like standing still. When and Laura always says I've got ADHD, but if we haven't got a project or something new, I get really I get itchy feet. I can't, I get unsettled. I struggle. My mental health doesn't do what I need it to do. And then as soon as I sink my teeth into it, I mean, even like the Pubcast and the YouTube channel, they've sort of helped me with direction, and not only that, but networking amongst the industry and things that we've never really done before. So So all right. Well, look, what. You went to Bath to work for
Jamie again. So the guy who I first met when I first ever started cooking at the Coach House, Jamie. Obviously we kept in touch throughout all those years anyway. He came to see me in London a few times when I was there, so obviously he's been quite a constant in my whole career. He rang me and was like, do you want to move away again, and you think about moving away. And by that point, even though I had my house, you know, I was in a pretty steady relationship, which, you know, wasn't really, I don't know, I was in a steady relationship, but I was always the one to be I want to push further, I want to go further afield, I want to make sure that I can do more in my career, and I don't just want to be stuck in Cleethorpes, you know. So I went down, did a few days with Jamie, and I really liked it down there. Bath is an amazing place to be. Nice, we weren't actually in Bath itself, it was on the outskirts, we're in Wiltshire, Chippenham, not too far away.
I know Chippenham,
So we work in a place called Biddeston, which is like a little village on the outskirts. Beautiful old manor house, you know, getting all fresh game in. So I was back and doing the butchery. Jamie's menus were fantastic, you know, just whole fresh produce. Nothing too swanky, nothing too fine dining, but just great flavours. I knew I could learn a lot more down there from him again. So I just jumped in, you know. I put my house on the market for rent.
I was going to say, did you rent it out?
Renting it out successfully for a long time, actually.
But at least that's ticking over and you don't have to worry too much about that. And obviously your costs have all of a sudden gone down. So was it living the job? Did you take...
So I ended up living with Jamie.
Oh, nice.
Took the job, lived with him. Rent was pretty cheap, you know, just chucked him a few quid every so often. Worked down there, beautiful part of the country, you know, and I was back cooking and doing what I wanted to do, and I could see my direction going, you know. It was fantastic.
So at this stage then, like, were you fine dining or were you...
Not really fine dining, but it was all fresh produce. It was all great flavours, just done well, and everything was fresh in the door. Everything was made on site. There was nothing bought in. There was nothing like that. So, in order to turn something into it, to turn something nothing to something, was amazing. And to have we used to have this gamekeeper on the site. He used to come in with like bags of pigeons, pheasants, whole venison.
Oh, off the manor.
Just literally have his own like. Gamekeeper just used to look after the land.
That's amazing.
And he used to call it a bag of death. He used to come in with like an old potato sack just full of pigeons and be like, do you want the bag of death? I was like, yeah, go on then. And we used to just tip it out, just prep it all, like, it's just literally just shot, nothing else done to it. So to have that sort of, your hands on that sort of produce fresh and just delicious, and to be able to cook it how you wanted to, it's just you know, it's a chef's dream, really.
I feel like with like the journey that you've been on, like every stage has just been, it's all just learning all of the time. And I think, you know, speaking quite broadly here, there's a lot of chefs that they never really want to learn and they never really want to change. You know, and I'm not talking about any of my staff, by the way, if you're watching this, but like I think in any industry it's probably the same, but like to go through things like this, this is the perfect example. Like we've got no idea how to do any of this, and we thought, let's give it a go. Let's see if it works. And I think all the time, you know, again, it goes back to just looking for something new so you can learn.
And you
grow.
learn as you go. And that's it.
Exactly,
it's just almost quite organic. It just sort of happens before you know it. You've got some of what you actually love. And
what was when was the conscious decision where you thought fine dining was the route to go down?
So I was renting my house in Cleethorpes, which actually I was renting it for a while quite successfully, but then it came to a point where no one was renting it. So I was like, oh, I'm paying mortgage up north, I'm paying rent down here. And at the time, that's when my wife Lucy now, which she would move down to live with me so she's from Grimsby originally. So as I moved, we sort of started getting friendly because I was going to the gym where she was a personal trainer at. And we sort of got together as I moved, and it was almost like, this is like not right time to be meeting someone, like, but she said, no, still go, you know, do what you need to do, we'll try it long distance. Really supportive. And in the end, she moved down with me, like within 8 to 12 months, I think it was. I can't remember how long it was, but it seemed like it was just meant to be. It was real quick, and we were living in for the first part, we were living in Jamie's spare bedroom, just on like a little IKEA sofa, which turned into a bed, and it was almost like just trying just surviving, really. We ended up getting a house down in Bath, but then this house in Cleethorpes just sort of, I couldn't get anyone to rent it, so we were just like, this is 3 years into me being down there, maybe 18 months into Lucy being down there. I'm just gonna have to come home. I'm just gonna have to bite the bullet and just decide to come home. And Winteringham Fields was the only place I could really see myself working. And that was on my radar because obviously Colin was on GBM, and it was on in
What's GBM?
So Great British Menu. So Colin was a contestant on that, like 3 years running the owner.
So is Colin head chef?
So Colin was the owner. So Colin and Bex McGurran, they own Winteringham Fields. They still do now. And when I moved back, I was watching Great British Menu and he popped up onto it. All of a sudden that pops back into my head. Winteringham Fields is in North Lincolnshire. Do you know what I mean? It's not too far. It's about 40 minutes from Cleethorpes, where we were.
So is Colin the chef then, obviously, at the time?
He was the chef, yeah.
Oh, I didn't know that. I thought so. So at this stage, then, when you're looking at Winteringham Fields, did they have accolades?
They had, at the time, 3 rosettes.
Okay.
No Michelin Star yet, but Winteringham Fields, going back like into the 80s, was like the 4th best restaurant in all of Europe.
It
had 2 Michelin Stars, 5 AA rosettes. It was like the place to go. It had people like the Beckhams go, Elton John. Everyone like that, and that was when Annie and Jermaine Schwab had it. And when I was at college, we used to go there on like day visits and go eat there and have a look around the restaurant. It was always like a place. Wow, I'd love to work here. Fantastic. And actually, before I went to go work down for Jamie, I went for a job there before Colin had it as just a commie chef. I'd never got the job.
Oh,
they
really?
said to me, "You're too young. You can't do it yet. You need to have a bit more experience behind you in fine dining." But I didn't think I was too young. I was just turned 20, and it wasn't.
That's like, almost like the perfect time to start, isn't it?
I always think
anyway, as people get a little bit older as well, they're harder to mould.
Yeah.
Like I would, again talking very broadly, but like a young, like front of house manager or whatever, a 20-year-old or 28-year-old with 8 years management. I think I'd go for the 20-year-old because I think they'd probably learn and they'd listen and stuff like that. But again, 100%. Speaking very broadly there.
Yeah. Well, I agree with you. By the time they get to like early 30s or something, they've already worked in a few places. They've probably picked up a few bad habits, which might be quite hard to iron out. If you get someone who's younger, who's got potential, who's real keen and wants to learn, and is excited about what they do, it's all passion. That's all it is in our industry. If you're passionate about it, then you almost don't need anything else, because you can teach that. You can teach the runnings of a kitchen, the runnings of a restaurant, how to make things, sauces in the kitchen, and all sorts of different things. I can teach you how to make anything, but if you don't have that passion there, and you're not excited about coming to work, there's no point in you being there. Because you will work the hours. Do you know what I mean? You will work like long hours. You will work evenings and weekends, and but that's going back to like the work-life balance as well. Now it's starting to have more of a work-life balance. Like I'm shut 3 days a week. I make sure one of them days is the weekend, so my guys can have a weekend day with their families and their friends and do what they want to do and be people as well, because they are.
It's not the be-all and end-all working bloody 15, 16-hour days, is it?
When you're there, you need to be passionate and you need to be excited about it.
And that's and that only happens when you get the big reset and you have the days off. And you can have time to sort of think about the plans and everything else. I always say that recreational time, for me, spending more time away from the pub is better for the pub than being in it all the time, because eventually you start to hate it.
Exactly,
I've definitely been through that sage. So how long were you at Winteringham Fields then?
Just under 10 years. So I was
there
for
I thought it was a long time.
So when me and my wife went to go eat there, when he was on GBM, because they run like a competition where if you guess like a score of one of his dishes right, then you win a free room, because it's got rooms there as well.
Okay.
So we did that, and we got the score right of one of his fish dishes, I think it was. So we rang up and booked a table and a room for the night. We went to go eat, and obviously they could sense that we were in the industry just from the questions we were asking and stuff like that. So at the end of the night, they said, "Oh, so do you want to look around the kitchen?" So I'll come and look around the kitchen. Look around the kitchen. Never seen a kitchen like it in all my life. I was
really?
Like, oh my God, this is amazing! Like all induction. It was just all singing, all dancing. It was just a beautiful, beautiful kitchen. And you can see why they could create the food in that space, because it is built for that. And the next day, I was checking out, paying my bill and that, and Colin was at reception. So I just said to him, "You got any jobs?" Literally just like that. And he went, "You what?" I was like, "Yeah, I'm a chef, and just wondering if you had any jobs." Because at that time, I knew he'd just started to go through the process of buying a pub in the area as well, Hope and Anchor in South Ferriby. So I knew that was on the cards as well. And I thought I'd ask him for a job and go work at the pub. But he said, "Yeah, come in for a trial." So I went to the kitchen, did a whole day with them, cooking, and he did like a little mystery box at the end of the day where I had to cook a dish for him, and
just certain ingredients,
just random ingredients, just from the fridge, and just create a dish. You've got an hour, do whatever you can. So I did, and at the end of it.
Do you remember what it was? What was the dish?
Yeah, I do. So he gave me a rib of lamb, so basically like the top end of the neck, some polenta, some wet polenta I did, and then some stuffed aubergine flowers.
Nice.
So yeah, but I messed it all up. I made a right mess of it. Literally, I burnt every pan going with these polenta.
What, nerves? Or
Yeah, just nerves and just.
This induction was too good.
Yeah, and I was honestly the induction.
Oh,
I've never
dear.
used it before, so it was just like instantly hot, and I've not cooked on it like that.
That's crazy,
I was always
yeah.
just been gas. So I was burning every pan and every pot, and the sink was just piling up with these pots, and managed to get him a dish.
Was he
to
watching
him.
you?
Yeah, he was watching me. Head chef Slavic was watching me, and all the other chefs who, Ryan and Sam and all them lot were all watching me. I mean, they were working as well, but there was obviously keeping an eye on me and stuff. But yeah, I managed to get this dish out to him, and he ate it. And he said, "Yeah, everything's seasoned right, everything's cooked okay, and yeah, it's good. Just go clean your mess up now." So I was like, "Yeah, no worries." And I thought I messed it up. I thought
We've done that a few, not to that level, but we've done like a. I mean, we'll always get a chef to cook something. I always like asking for a poached egg.
Yeah.
I don't know why. It's just one of those things that
I think
often
eggs
chefs will mess it up.
Yeah.
And I remember I left him in the kitchen, and it was an unusual one because it was him and his girlfriend was interviewing for front of house.
Ah, okay.
And he was a chef, and
Yeah.
I think it took him about 6 eggs to get a good poached egg.
Oh, really?
But anyway, without going into it, but it was one of those experiences where you put a little bit of pressure on someone, and obviously we're nowhere near Winteringham Fields kitchen. But yeah, no, it was quite interesting to see.
Yeah, and then years down the line, when I actually started to become more of a manager at Fields, he said to me, "Do you know the reason why we do these cook-offs? It's not because I want someone to create the most mind-blowing dish or anything like that. I just want to see how they work in a kitchen and and how good their palate is.
Yeah.
And if it comes up as a little bit overcooked, it's not a problem. But if it's seasoned correctly and then I've seen them taste it throughout, then that to me is a basis you can build on. You know what I mean? I'm not expecting someone to bring out the most. They've got an hour to cook. You know what I mean? They're not going to be cooking.
It's so funny you say, and obviously I've not worked in those backgrounds at all, and I always had a spoon in my jacket, and nothing ever left the kitchen without me tasting it. Whereas I've sat here and I've had food and I'm like, oh my god, this isn't seasoned at all. You know, not this current team, but previous team. And it just amazes me that they could send a risotto out without trying just a little bit, just to get that flavour.
And that's what I'd tell all my chefs now. Just taste. That's all you got to do.
Taste it.
Just keep tasting.
You can taste it straight away.
If you're not sure about it, get me to taste it. Get someone else in the kitchen. Get front of house to taste it. Everyone's got a palate, and everyone's palate's different. But if you let someone leave the kitchen and you haven't tasted it, then you failed, basically. Because it comes back to the kitchen saying it's not right, it's under-seasoned, it's over-seasoned, it's too spicy, too much lemon, too much acid, whatever it might be, then you haven't done your job.
It's really difficult as well, and you'll know this so well, but everyone on this side, especially probably when you get some accolades, I mean, we've never ever pushed for any awards ever, because I don't like the idea of openly inviting people to come in and judge us, and this is speaking broadly about the customer base, so I might not sell the Leagate very well here, but everyone turns into a professional. None of them worked in kitchens. None of them know how hard it is to put out and all the rest of it. And I saw this thing on how a steak should be cooked. You'll know fallow. And they did it, and then I showed even my wife Laura, who's got a lot of experience. And I said, "What do you think there?" She goes, "Well, that rare looks blue." And I was like, "Yeah, well, that's the right temperature." And it was really interesting because I think if we'd served those steaks cooked exactly the same to customers in here, every single one would get a complaint. Because every single one was under.
But everyone's got their own conception of what they think a steak should be.
Same with all those 90% wrong.
Exactly.
Which is amazing.
But it's not just that. It's everyone thinks how a fish and chip should be. Everyone knows how a mash should be, or because they can do it at home and they think it should be a certain way. Full English at the moment. When we first opened, we had a massive debate in the kitchen and in the restaurant to say, what do you think should be on a full English? Everyone's idea of it was different.
Completely different.
So it's like you start putting those dishes out and you can't please everyone. That's the issue. You have. You can literally not everyone leaves 100% happy.
No.
Majority of people do leave the auction house happy, but I know I'm not everyone's cup of tea, and my food's not everyone's cup of tea. And as soon as you get that into your head, then
it's okay.
It's okay to not please everyone.
I mean, the big thing we spoke about with the White Horse, Dan and Jason at the White Horse, but the big thing with reviews as well. Like, I used to get so hung up on them, and then after a little while, I was like, do you know what? I'm not going to read them anymore. And I just stopped reading them.
I still get. Not upset, but obviously I want everyone to leave happy. I want everyone to come who comes.
You're nearly 2 years in. Obviously, I know you've not 2 years into the industry, but
2 years into a brand new business.
Your business, yeah. So my first 2 years in that was like I got so hung up, and then I'm only 6 now. And I'm like, yeah, whatever. Do you know what? Sometimes I just need to come into the bar or whatever and just talk to 5 or 6 people, and they all say how wonderful the staff are. You know, how amazing the food's been and everything else, and it just gives you that confidence back, because you can sit at home reading reviews,
exactly,
going, oh my God.
reading comments.
I'm obviously doing something wrong. What's the point in all of this?
But that's bad though. You get in your own head, and I do it so many times. I mean, you ask any of the front of house team how many times I ask, is everyone all right down there? Because we've got like.
Do you ever go out onto the floor?
I try to. Obviously, if I'm busy in the kitchen, then I'd much prefer to make sure the kitchen's set and that people are getting the food to the right.
Yeah, of course.
But at the end of the night, when there's 3 of us in the kitchen all together, but the 2 guys on a quiet night can handle it themselves. And when it gets a little bit quieter on a Saturday night, I do tend to drop down into the restaurant and either be behind the bar, even just helping polish glasses, or I just tend to walk around the tables asking people how they enjoyed everything. And I'm always at the bar when people start leaving, so I can talk to them and ask them how they was, what do they have, and do they enjoy everything, was there anything they didn't enjoy, because I think it's always important.
It's nice to see the face, I think.
Yeah.
People buy into that. This was on that podcast I was telling you about earlier with the landlord from the Devonshire. And he said, they said, why doesn't he open another one in Dublin or New York or Tokyo? Because it's a fantastic pub. And he's like, because I can't be in those places all at once. I just want to be in my one pub. I want my one pub to be big enough so I can make a good living from it. But I just want one good pub. And I thought that was a really good way to look at it. We're in a different area here, so sometimes expansion is like the only way to do it. But, right, we've fast forwarded a little bit. So we're going to have to rewind to the Winteringham.
You can edit this, can't you?
Put this back into the. So Winteringham was a big team. So you're sort of, if we just talk about like what it was like to work. So when did we get the stars? What
right,
was that?
So when I was 28, I went to go work at Winteringham Fields as a chef de partie. So I was in the thick of it with a team. At that time, the team was quite big because he was just about to open the Hope and Anchor, the pub. So he had some of the team in the kitchen there who were going to go to the pub. So he started to train them at Fields to get a feel about what sort of style chefs. Not only they were, but also they could see what sort of food he was planning on doing at the pub. So there must have been about 11 of us at the time when I first started there. I was on the meat section, and when I first started there was an a la carte menu, so you could either have 3 or 4 courses. You could have a tasting menu, either 7 or 9 courses, and every dishes were different. It was a lot to do. And I was running the hot meat section, so I had the snacks to do, I had the proteins cooked on the main course, I had a whole dish of, I think it was foie gras at the time, pan-seared foie gras with, I do remember it, foie gras with mushroom duxelle, a thyme and parmesan tart, amaretto jelly, and it was a big dish. All the elements of that dish you had to do yourself, and you had to make sure it came to the pass. It was different from other kitchens I worked in because there was always someone on the pass plating the food. You just had to cook it and send it up. Then either Slavek or Colin would be on the pass. They'd be checking your dishes. And my first weekend was the busiest I've ever been. They had 2 restaurants out. It was like 86 covers, all ordering from an a la carte menu and 2 tasting menus. So it was full on. But it was fun. Do you know what I mean?
It's really, a buzz. I imagine.
It was really good to get involved and
be cooking to that
level. Do you know what I mean?
One environment I've never been in. So I've been in loads of different like kitchens and cafes and stuff like that, but I've never been into it. I did the Samling in the Lake District.
Okay, nice.
After a wine flight, I got talking to the chef and he showed me around the kitchen, and that was
nice.
That was by far the best ever.
That'd have been a similar sort of set of kitchen to what Fields have got. Like,
I don't think they had Michelin Star at the time.
They have now.
They have now, haven't they? Is it 2?
No, just got 1.
Is it?
Yeah.
But we was in there, and I said to Laura, I was like, "This is 100% Michelin."
I think they've got 1. Now you've got to be questioning it.
I thought it was 2, but anyway, we'll
check that out before you.
We'll bleep it out.
Yeah.
Amazing. So sorry, we keep going.
Winteringham, and I was started cooking on a section. So literally but then Colin obviously must have seen potential in me because within like maybe 10 months I was moving sections. So I went onto the appetizer side, and I went onto the pastry side, and went onto the fish side.
You're learning
I was starting to learn all the sections, and I was working my way around. At the time, I was still living in Grimsby, you know, but I was enjoying my time that much at Winteringham that I didn't mind travelling back and forth.
Yeah, of course.
Then Colin sat me down one day and was listen, you know, if I'm building some houses in the village, if you're serious about this being your like career for the next sort of X amount of years, then maybe buy one from me. All right, fair enough. So we ended up moving to the village. So that was just as I was expecting our second kid, Frances. So yeah.
So what would be your like official title at this stage then? At that?
I would have been maybe junior sous chef.
Okay.
So I'd been around all the sections. I'd done my time on most of them. The team had obviously changed quite a lot in that time, but I was still a constant. Me and the guy above me, Ryan, we were like the two guys who had been there the longest, and had known the kitchen and known the sections, and we know how to run it. Even when Colin's not around, we could quite happily do that. And even the first head chef when I first started, Sławek, he'd even gone. So now Ryan's head chef, he's got me underneath him. We've got maybe 5 guys underneath me. So you know we had the team there to do it. So I thought, you know, this could keep progressing, you know.
So like during this period then, was the conversation in the kitchen like we're pushing for stars, or
always it was always that was the goal. Colin wanted I mean it still was a great restaurant in Lincolnshire, but he wanted 4 rosettes, he wanted a Michelin Star at least. It was always the goal. It just never came. It was just almost like every time.
Did you know that you were getting inspections and you were missing it?
Yeah, we could almost. You can sense when an inspector books, whether it's Michelin, AA, Good Food Guide, or anyone. There'll always, not always, but majority of the time, be a single table.
Yeah. So for anyone that doesn't know on this, because I think we'll probably know a little bit more, but do you want to just explain the process of how you get the inspection?
Yeah. So in order to get an inspection, you have to be on Michelin's radar, whether a guest has emailed them or called them. Or
can you put yourself in? Or
you can do if you want. You can email them and just say, "I think I'm ready for this. Come and inspect." And Michelin will not even email you back. They'll just show up if they want. Whereas AA nowadays, especially AA, you have to pay for it.
Yeah, I heard that.
You have to pay for an inspection with AA, and then you get put into their guide. But with that, you get obviously a few pictures and an advertisement in the actual physical guide and on their website and stuff like that. But Michelin's completely sort of free, basically. So you put yourself forward for it, or a guest will put yourself forward, put your restaurant forward for it, and then they'll come. They won't announce. They'll book a table just like anyone else.
Normally lunchtime, isn't it?
Lunchtimes, midweek. They very rarely come on a weekend. It'll mainly be a single diner. They might ask a few questions on the phone to see what the reception's like, what the booking process is like. But that's not what they judge it on. They judge it on the restaurant as a whole and the food on the plate, service, and you know.
It's a cool job though, do you not think?
Well, it sounds like a cool job.
For me, I'd be like, I'd love to do that, but my knowledge probably is nowhere near. I do wonder who does it. Like, it must be probably ex-chefs and things like that.
I mean, there's a series out at the moment on Apple called Chasing Stars, or On a Knife's Edge, I think it's called, Chasing Stars.
Right.
That goes a bit more in depth into it. I've not actually seen it myself yet, but it's supposed to be really, really good. It's like follows chefs all over the world, either trying to retain stars or chasing stars, but in each different country.
Well, it's amazing some of the ones, without digressing again. Like there's been fast food restaurants that have got stars and stuff like that. There's
all sorts of places. I mean, pubs can get them. Do you know what I mean? But like Tom Kerry's the most famous one. Forever in the Hand of Flowers. It's got 2 Michelin stars. You know, but going further afield, like Singapore, there's little street food vendors who've got 1 Michelin star, and you know.
So what was it like when you got that star? And who can you remember the service or?
Well, you don't remember the thing is with Michelin, they won't just come once. They'll come once, and they might announce after the meal or the next day. They might sit down with you and have a chat with you. They might not. They might just leave and not say a word, and you just think, was that Michelin or was it not? And you never know. But there's like little things that you'll pick up on. Like you'll see, like when they book the table, they'll book under a different name from what the credit card says. Or they'll have they'll have guides in the car, like parts of the car park. So we send someone out and have a look in the car. So we think it's Michelin. Just have a look and look through the window, and it's like, oh, there's got loads of guides on the like the passenger seat, or they've got Michelin tyres. It must be there. And it's like you don't really know for sure, but there's always like these little signs. And
can't be. They've got an AA tax desk.
That's it. But 9 times out of 10, it'd be the same group of. I don't know how it works. If they've got like. Any big company would have regions which each inspector would look after. And that's how we almost sort of thought, like, there's 5 or 6 different inspectors who might just stick to the same region, and that's why we keep seeing these same faces coming up every sort of year. There'll be a new face, but it'll be a face we've seen maybe 2 years ago.
Right, okay.
And there's one inspector who's got like an oyster don't like oysters, so on his notes he'll put no oysters, whether he's allergic to them or just don't like them or what. But you'll see a single diner with an oyster allergy, and you're like,
oh, is it?
is this it? But yeah, you can spot them. But they'll come they'll come once, and if they come again the same year, you think, why have they come again? And,
I wonder if you were like just on the edge, and then
but you never really know. It's almost like that. You think
it's
is,
good
but
that
never...
you know. Obviously, it's nice to see that they don't give them out.
Yeah.
Whereas I'm broadly speaking, I've been to a couple of rosette restaurants, and maybe it was just a bad experience.
Yeah.
And I've sat there and I thought, well, I'm not sure.
I don't get it.
Yeah. I'm not sure how good this actually is. So I think, just one of those things with the rosette versus Michelin. I think rosettes are obviously easier to come by, but I still think a single or a 2 rosette restaurant.
It should be a certain standard.
Should be pretty bloody good.
And that's why the guides exist, because people should be able to look at it and think, this is a standard, what I know, and I know I'm going to enjoy it. There shouldn't be any sort of inkling where you think, I'm not going to book that because it's not going to be good.
Well,
we should always go to a starred restaurant.
I'll have to tell you which one I'm talking about off camera, because I've got a rule that we don't talk about different things, but you'll know it, I think.
Okay.
But yeah, so
and the year we got the star, we think we got inspected 3 times. So the first time they came, it was a single diner. The second time they came, it was another single diner. And then he looked round the kitchen. Colin introduced it to me because I was the head chef at the time. And then the third time they came, there was 3 of them. So there was the 2 inspectors who came before, and then Rebecca Burr, who is the editor of the guide. So as soon as you see her face, you know it's Michelin.
Right.
And
it's
then
still not guaranteed.
It's still not guaranteed,
but at least you've got a bit of a heads up.
Obviously, what happens is the first inspector thinks, right, they're ready for the star. Let's send another inspector out, and he thinks, yeah, okay, they're ready for a star. And then, okay, all 3 of us go together.
So did your manager walk in and go, oh my God, Rachel's here?
Yeah, it's literally like Rebecca Burt is sat at this table, and we've got cameras in the kitchen so we can see, not just for security, but for service reasons as well. It's almost like you've got an eye in the sky and you can see every table.
Yeah.
If anyone needs a wine topping up or wine they got cutlery or whatever it might be, it's just a hem. So you can see her sat there, and at that point, Colin was on holiday. So
really?
He was.
I was about to say, did Colin come in again?
He was in Thailand at the time. I think it was Thailand. So me and the restaurant manager, Xavier, we took a picture of us 2 with the table behind us on the camera and sent it to him while he was on holiday. Guess who we've got in for lunch? Oh, yeah, he wasn't happy with us, but yeah. And then you still don't know, even when they leave. It's not like they say, well done, you've got one. It's not until the awards get announced.
I can't imagine, did you get nervous, or were you just having a good time and just excited?
No, I think the issue with what we were struggling with when all those years we never got a star, we was always conscious, it's table of 1, let's do this for them, let's do that for them. We weren't just doing what was on the menu, we weren't just cooking, we weren't, and it got to a point where Colin was like, you know what, I don't want a star anymore, let's just cook what we want to cook. And that was the year that we got the star. So it's almost like, just do what you do and just do it well, and believe in what you're doing, and good things will happen. It's like, there's no point in pandering to them because they can tell it a mile off. They know exactly what you're doing. If they can oversee a different table, well, why is his dish look like that and mine's like this?
Because you don't get the feedback as well. You've got no idea. You don't know if something's happened on the phone when they've booked. I mean, I'm not speaking bad of any of your staff there or anything like that, but you know, when I've gone to places, sometimes I go, bloody hell, I wasn't expecting that of a 3 rosette restaurant, or and that could happen to anybody. That could happen. The chef could be the best chef in the world, but they've still got so many hurdles to get over before they even get that plate of food in front of them. Oh, amazing. Well, that sounds like a crazy part of your journey, definitely.
Man. And then we got it in 2018. We got so that, like I said, when they leave, you still don't know. So we're hanging on until the time the awards got announced in October. So around about September time, you get a little bit, you get an email basically to say you're invited to the awards ceremony. And we got an email out of the blue. We were just like,
so you still didn't know if you got one?
No. Well, they just invited to the awards. And we're like, why are they inviting? Because it's the first time any of us have even seen this email, so we don't really know what to expect. Are we going and we're expected to wash up or something? Do you know what I mean? Like, what is the what's the deal? So there was me, Zav, Alexi, the sommelier, and Colin all went down to London. And yeah, we got the star. It was an amazing sort of experience.
Amazing,
And yeah, it was such a great accolade to have, especially I've only been head chef for just over 12 months, so within my sort of first year of them coming and inspecting, they thought that we were worthy of a star.
And you retain, again, sorry if this might sound like I don't know what I'm talking about, but do you retain, they still inspect every year?
Every year they'll come.
But it's easier to retain, they don't inspect like 3 times, or do they?
No, they won't inspect 3 times. Well, I assume they don't. I'm not too sure. They might come more often than what we think, but they will come back out every year and make sure that you still are at that star level. I think they probably wouldn't inspect because again they're a business, aren't they? They can't afford to inspect the same restaurant. You've got to think of how many stars there's in the country, and they're not going to go to every restaurant.
There's a significant lack around here, though, isn't there?
Oh, massive, yeah. And considering Lincolnshire is such an amazing, producer of all different types of food, not only just from like the fruit and veg that we can grow, but also the livestock and the coastline, what creates such amazing seafood. And for us not to have that sort of hub of restaurants which are just producing amazing food is criminal to me.
It's not. I think it's more to do with it's the population and things like that. It's so much harder to get, and I think probably money as well. Like it's not the most affluent.
No.
Obviously there's plenty of money in Lincolnshire, but it's not the most affluent county. There's a lot less money here than let's say Norfolk or Hertfordshire as you get closer to London.
Yeah.
So I think that's a big thing I noticed with the pubs down south. Like you'll go in there on a Tuesday night and they're full. And you come up here. If you go, you'll be lucky if you've got 40 people in all of the pubs in the area on a Tuesday night. So all right. Well, look, I think that probably is a nice time to flip onto the next leg in your journey.
Right. Okay. Yeah.
So, were you sort of thinking I want to take my own place on, or how did the auction house sort of come about as an opportunity?
So when I think any chef actually, when they first start on their career, if they've got a certain mindset, they always want to own their own restaurant. That's what they've got. The end goal is, and it was always my goal. Even though it might have lapsed in certain points of my life, it's always come back round. I've always thought, no, I do want to do that. And I was at Winteringham Fields for 9 years, coming up close to 10 years, and I was like, I've been working here and I love it. I could stay here for the rest of my career and get to the end of my career and think, you've done amazing. Do you know what I mean? You've done what most chefs dream of doing. You've earned yourself a Michelin Star. You've retained it for 6 years. You've got 4 rosettes. You're cooking the food that you want to cook, and people love doing what you do. But it's all for someone else.
Yeah.
It's like, although I've got my reputation there and I've got my name at Winteringham Fields, it's still always going to have that calling attached to it, which is fine. Do you know what I mean? I've got no problem with it. Like I said, I could have worked there doing what I do.
See, interestingly, from an outsider looking in, not been to Winteringham Fields, I thought it was yours.
Oh, right, okay.
So I didn't know. I've never been.
I should have stayed there.
But I thought in my head, I thought it was your restaurant and you were the head chef.
Yeah, I know.
Which amazes me even more because Colin was obviously able to build such a fantastic team.
Yeah.
In yourself and find you and everything, which we find so hard. To do all of those achievements, which is hats off to him.
Yeah, exactly.
I don't know the chap, but
Colin was amazing. Amazing support, amazing guidance. He was always had your best interest at heart. He'll always, obviously don't get me wrong, it's his restaurant. He wants it to be successful, but he'd give the team the tools what they needed to succeed themselves as well as the restaurant. And when I came, I must have been in charge for maybe 3 years, and he came to me and said, "I want to take my family travelling. Do you mind?" I was like, "Well, yeah. If you trust me with your restaurant to go do that, then go do it." So he went travelling.
So that's good. That's probably a good experience for you as well before the auction.
It set me up massively, and almost. Colin maybe shouldn't have done that because he always gave me a little taste of what I could be doing. And don't get me wrong, it was completely different to do it yourself for doing it for him because it was always, it was his funds, it was his restaurant still, but I was just running it as I thought he would want it to be run.
Yeah.
And don't get me wrong, we were Skyping all the time, emails, and making sure that things were still ticking over, and he was happy with what we're doing. Like I said, we were retaining things like the Star, and we were still nice and busy. When the COVID hit, and he was stuck in the Caribbean. And he got stuck in just out off the coast of Antigua.
I imagine that's like bittersweet, to be honest.
Yeah.
Especially if you've got a restaurant, so he couldn't actually fly back.
He couldn't fly back. He couldn't go anywhere on Antigua for a good few months. He was stuck on the boat getting supplies sent back and forth from his catamaran to the island and back and forth. And then just trusted me and Luce to look after the restaurant while it was closed.
Basically,
so we were put in charge of shutting everything up, making sure everything was looked after. We were living on site, so it was almost like the security as well, making sure. And my main role, I mean, a lot of people in lockdown treat it as a way of learning new skills and doing something, but Luce literally just looked after Winteringham Fields and made sure that the gardens were looked after. So as soon as we got the okay to open again, we could just literally reopen. Right. We didn't have to say, right, we can reopen, but we've got to wait 2 weeks because we've got to make sure the restaurant's up and running again, the gardens need looking after, the bedrooms need sorting. We could literally just say, right, Boris has said that we can open tomorrow, we can open tomorrow. So that's what we
did give us like
ourselves.
a 2-week window, didn't it?
Yeah.
Because we were about to do the patio as we went into lockdown, so it was March.
Okay,
so we were like, they were starting on the 16th, and I said to him, I was like, mate, we can't do this.
Yeah.
I can't spend X amount of money on a patio when we might be going into a closure, because it was like rumoured, wasn't it?
Yeah.
So then when he gave us 2 weeks, I said, right, can you start tomorrow?
Yeah.
And the landscaping firm, Zenscape Landscaping, literally put his team on the next day.
Yeah.
So when we opened with a big patio and everything like that.
Yeah,
so
cool.
It's a funny old stage in our lives, I think. Probably.
But I think hospitality, they thrive straight after the lockdown because people just want to go out.
Yeah.
And the Winteringham Fields being the way it was, it's got little different lounges. The tables were already like 2 meters apart anyway.
Yeah, well, that's kind of what we had here. We didn't have to change
space.
We
thrived, you know.
People put plastic up on the bars,
but
you weren't allowed to stand at the bar.
Yeah, so
I was like, well, we're not doing that. So everyone was paying like for all this perspex stuff, and I was like, well, you don't need to because no one can stand at the bar.
Exactly.
Why? They've not said make all the staff areas enclosed and really uninviting and everything else. So we avoided all that.
I think as long as you're making sure people were spaced out and everything was done responsibly.
It was main thing was just make sure people were comfortable. Because if people came in and they weren't comfortable, they would have said something. That was key. Right. So auction house.
Yeah. So
what was the
2024? We opened the auction house. Like I said, we was at Fields. We were happy, but we felt like.
So is your missus involved?
Yeah, so Lucy's my business partner, basically. So she's
amazing.
Joint directors of the company. We both own.
That's what me and Laura do.
50% of it, and she does a lot of the back of house stuff. She works front of house as well, breakfast. Obviously, we've got 3 young kids at home as well, so she's very busy at home. But whenever she can, when she gets there, she does breakfast shifts and lunches, and then she's back for the school run. Weekends, obviously, she's very rarely there because of the girls being off. But she does a lot back of house as well.
And how was that? I know it sounds like you were doing a lot at Winteringham Fields, but how was the transition from head chef to business owner? Like how was that?
I didn't think it was going to be as big a difference, but it's massively different.
Okay.
The weight's all on our shoulders now, and I felt a massive weight as soon as I realised I've got the keys. I was dead happy. I'm going to open my own restaurant, and then all of a sudden the realisation sinks in, and you're like, I need to make sure that this restaurant's busy.
When you get a bloody your first, I don't know. The thing I can relate to is when my first bar invoice. It was like, I think it was the first order we did, it was like $3.5 grand, and I was like, bloody hell.
But when you first open, you have to restock, you have to stock everything.
The whole thing.
So it's it's not like on a weekly basis. It's like 10 times the amount of what it would be for a weekly basis. And you got all these bills coming, and it's just like, how am I supposed to pay this? And then you're like, well, we can't open yet because we still need to train the staff. We still need to, write the menus and prep and everything. So it was a good sort of 4 weeks before we even opened.
So you're paying all of these members of staff.
And
it's horrible.
Luckily, we just sold our house in Cleethorpes, which I had for that long. So I had a bit of cash where we could make sure we opened right. It was always important to me to make sure that we don't open too soon and upset any of the guests and not want to come back. When we're ready to open, we will open.
Me and my father have always said, you've got this 6-month period in a restaurant opening or a pub or whatever, where everyone in the area will want to come and see you. So everyone will go, there's a new restaurant, Gareth's opening this, he's from Winteringham Fields, let's go and see him. Your reach is massive. The people that I've heard talk about it in like Peterborough.
Oh, right, okay.
It's amazing. That's like probably a nearly hour and a half journey. And you get this period where you can impress. And if you make mistakes in that period, they're never coming back. Whereas if you please them, in that period, you'll have customers for life.
Exactly, and they're going to tell more people.
Yeah, exactly.
People know word of mouth's the best advertising our industry, I think.
So what was your first night? Were you fully booked?
Yeah, we're fully booked for ages.
Yeah.
Like, it was amazing.
Months.
Yeah, when we first opened, it was like, so May, June, July, I don't think there was a night where we didn't have a full restaurant. Lunches were a little bit different, but evenings, we were full, and we were thinking, this is amazing, like, this is so good. But then obviously, honeymoon period ends, doesn't it? And don't get me wrong, we've still been busy, but it's never been like what it was in the first few months. But like you say, like, you announced that you're opening a restaurant, and, you know, my reputation, you know, obviously has followed me from there. So people want to come and naturally just want to come and eat and try out
really
what we're doing.
It's really hard to keep that sort of excitement, and we, to be honest, like we've always found it through investment. Which I presume you lease the building.
Yeah.
So obviously it's a bit harder for you to do that, but like so we first opened, we had that massive honeymoon period. We then went into COVID, and then I built the patio in the garden. And everyone was like, "Oh, that was amazing." Then we actually got flooded in here, so this all got a revamp.
Oh wow, okay.
So then that's all, and then now we've probably business has started to sort of lose a little bit of its oomph. And now we're looking at the second site. But what's actually happened is with that second site, everyone like up to Louth and all the Wolds and stuff like that has now come to the Leagate. Because we've announced that we're buying the second site. So now all of a sudden the Leagate's picked up based on that.
It's just keeping things exciting, I think, and keeping
people just want to be along the journey.
Mind and making sure, like, oh, I want to go out for a beer, I want to go to a nice pub lunch or whatever it might be. Oh, the Leagate, it's in their foremand, so they're going to come. And same with the auction house, you know, it's just making sure like you are putting yourself forward on things like social media and other platforms. Just to make sure if someone's got a special occasion coming up, or they want to go out for a nice Saturday meal on a Saturday night, or even midweek, you know, oh, let's go to the auction house. I bet it's good.
So what's your kitchen like? Is it small? I've got a feeling
tiny. So going from Winteringham Fields into the auction house is completely different.
Anyone who's not been, the building itself is like a one window shop front. Over 3 stories.
3 stories. So it's got like two double bay windows with a door in the middle. And then upstairs it's got 1 big bay window, but then the kitchen's on the top floor. So that serves one of the issues what we have. Obviously we've got a dumbwaiter which goes in between each floor. But creating the food that we do in that small space with the equipment that we have.
Where credit's due,
under such a small team. I don't get me wrong, the team's amazing, front and back of house. They're all incredible.
So how many chefs?
There's 2 chefs.
Plus you?
Plus myself. And obviously being the owner, I'm not always in the kitchen. Don't get me wrong, that's where I base myself majority of the time.
You know, I think that's really important. And I think if you obviously are used to managing a big team and things like that, and I think it's really important that you're out front, because that's what people have always really enjoyed here, is myself and Laura being heavily involved. Again, we're similar to yourself. We've got really good managers. And there's loads of people who come in and they just want to see Dillis and and the team leaders, and they don't know who we are, sort of thing, which is great. But I think it's, seeing you in the restaurant is. Especially with Lincolnshire people, like, who's the man behind it or the woman behind it? I should say that. So okay, brilliant. So obviously you're like 18, nearly 2 years in May, you said. And what's sort of next? Are you would you like to do?
At the minute, I'm happy doing what we do. I mean, we've got so many guests coming in the door saying how much they love what we do and why haven't you got a bigger premises, and I'd love a bigger premises, but at the moment I'm comfortable doing what I'm doing. We've got the lease for another few years, so at the moment we're not looking at moving anywhere, But don't get me wrong, it breaks my heart when I've got to turn away guests on a Saturday night because we just can't fill them. We just can't fit them in.
It's so difficult, but it should be the fact that the way we looked at it when we first came, we said, we want to come to your restaurant. So if we couldn't get in on a night, we just went on a different night.
Yeah, exactly.
And that's how it should be.
I'm hoping a lot of people do that, but the majority of people, I want to go out and eat on this day. I don't want to eat on any other day. So rather than just coming to us, they'll just book a different restaurant, which I do think happens quite a lot. But I'm hoping the majority of people will just book on a different night. I can't get on a Friday, I'll come on a Thursday, or I'll come the following Wednesday or the following Thursday. You can still come out and enjoy great food midweek.
Yeah, of course.
It doesn't matter what day of the week it is. I think people have this idea in their mind that I can only go out and eat on a weekend.
Weirdly, we were talking about it earlier, myself and Laura, that our Saturday night trade is probably down like 20%.
Oh, right, okay.
But our Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Fridays, lunch and dinners are up like 10-15%, all of them.
Okay.
So I don't know if it's something to do with like the cost of living, where if you go out on a Saturday night, you end up spending more money.
More money, yeah.
You have a bottle of wine, you know, you do this. So, and we, you know, sometimes when I was in the kitchen, we would do like 180 covers on a Saturday night.
Yeah.
And now we probably average about 115, 120.
Right, okay.
Which is, to be honest, to work in,
yeah.
it's way nicer. All the chefs would probably agree with me. But yeah, no, that's amazing. And again, like we're coming in next week, so
looking forward to it. Yeah, it should be good.
There is, just to sort of finish, I've got some I've not read one of these questions, by the way, which is the first time, so it just shows how shows how easy the conversation's gone. So just to end, we normally start with we normally end on just a few quick fire-ish questions, some light-hearted stuff.
Yeah, okay, yeah.
But it's been a great conversation. So best pub snack. What's your favourite pub snack if you're at a bar?
Scampi fries.
Is it? Oh, I like a scampi fry. Yeah. I like a pork scratching, but you know when sometimes you get a really soft pork scratching.
Yeah, it always makes me. Why is it so soft? Yeah.
And then this is quite a good one. So this can be whether it's one of your meals or somewhere else. What's the best meal, or a meal that means the most to you? So it could be quite sentimental.
Okay.
Or it could be one of the best meals you've had in a restaurant.
The Ledbury in London. Just won 3-star last year. Tom Spencer actually was on GBM with me when I did Great British Menu. Tom was one of the other competitors, and he's now got 3-star. It's an incredible restaurant. I went there maybe 10 years ago with Colin. The first time I ever went, it was incredible, but it just keeps getting better and better. And I've been back maybe 3 or 4 times now. I took Lucy a couple of years ago.
And what's it called?
The Ledbury.
The Ledbury.
It's in Notting Hill.
Oh, amazing!
Yeah,
I have to have a look into that.
Incredible restaurant. It's just flavour after flavour. It's incredible.
What do they do? Like a 10, 8?
It's a tasting menu. And no, last time I went, actually, Tom looked after me really well. I think I must have had 3 or 4 different main courses, loads of dessert. So what should have been a 10 course was 18 courses, something ridiculous. But yeah, it was fantastic.
Oh, that's good. And this is a really difficult question for some, but maybe not. But we'll see. So if you weren't a chef, what would you be? So you're not allowed, nothing to do with food or hospitality.
All right, okay.
Dream job.
A dream job? I don't know. I can't do anything else other than cook. But there was a fork in the road actually at one point in my life where I was going to go into. So while I was at college, it was either continue cooking or you've got a place at De Montfort University in Leicester for a forensic science course.
Oh, really?
Because I don't know if I was just watching too much CSI or what, but I wanted to be a forensic scientist. So
weirdly, Michelin and forensic science.
Yeah, maybe. Yeah, go hand in hand, maybe. I don't know. Yeah,
Okay, brilliant. All right, and then the last one: if you're gonna sit down and have a meal, beer or wine?
With a meal, wine.
Yeah.
If I'm sat at home in front of the telly, beer.
Yeah. Both have their place.
Yeah, exactly. It depends where you are. I mean, I love beer. I know. That's all I get bought for Christmas and birthdays. Is just
people buy me beer all the time. I think I've got enough. Just add that in. If anyone's thinking of buying me beer, I'm all right, honestly.
He's got a pub running all beer.
So yeah, brilliant. All right then, bud. Well, look, cool. we'll plug all your socials. If you haven't been, you've got to go up to the auction house and check out some of the stuff they're doing up there. It's a fantastic restaurant, definitely one of my favourites.
Well, thank you very much.
And it's been a pleasure, bud.
Cheers, dude.
Thank you very much. I think we'll cheers and see the Guinness off, I think.
Road race, some big